really covers those now. And, I haven't seen any signs yet with Zak Young on them. When are they going up, the signs?
No, I don't think I'm going to have any election signs this year.
That might hurt.
Yeah, no, it could. It could.
Ivan didn't hurt have one, I think, last year. He only got a few votes.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about that. I decided not to when I thought I was sure to lose this election. And I decided, why spend another? Yeah, I was going to put up 1,000.
Some guy comes like a Wrexham.
Yeah. Well, but also, I think the voters of London, Ontario, might be a little more intelligent than the argument of a sign. So I want the voters to decide on whether or not they want to elect me based on my qualities and attributes, my reasons and abilities to do the job, not on my ability to put up 1,000 signs that nobody really wants to see anyway and waste a lot of money on that, because I think that's really the problem with City Hall, is all they do is waste money. And if these guys get in are trying to waste a lot of money putting up signs, maybe they'll just waste a lot more money when they're in power if they get elected. So that's my take on the sign. So, sorry, you were saying about the Jim Chapman show.
I was talking about the Muhammad Party, that London landlord. He's one of London's wealthy landlords.
Okay.
But you didn't mention about your meeting.
No. Well, I think Jim Chapman is a reasonable voice. His show is a little crazy, but we're all a little crazy.
He's only on for an hour.
And, I'm a big fan of his work. I asked him if I could go on his show. He told me he couldn't. But apparently Tucker and Taz might be having me on their radio show, because they emailed me asking me if I would go on. Yeah, on FM 96 there. I think it's a morning show. And so I'm trying to get out into the media, but it seems like the media mostly wants to ignore and ridicule me, which is all right. It's their decision. They make that decision. I can't do anything about it. And I don't really pay attention to the media myself. So, I watch the Jim Chapman show. Would you like to be in a campaign video?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, no problem.
So, anyways, that's what he's referred to about Muhammad Fari. He owns a lot of properties in London.
I've seen these signs, Fari.
Yeah, I think he's from the Middle East.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of
sounds like it from the name, right?
I don't know what part on the Middle East. Probably somewhere around.
Maybe Jordan. Who knows?
Probably that area.
Yeah.
But he owns I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's well into the millions. He's well in. He's got a lot of properties here in London. Jim Chapman does accounting for him.
Oh, really?
Jim Chapman has
he's an accountant for Mr. Fari.
Well, he has an office on, I think it's Duffernat and Richard Street. That's where his office is, and he does work for Fari.
Interesting.
He does, as he said in the show today, he does work for him. But he didn't mention so much about that. Anything else amazing on that.
So that was the focus of the Jim Chapman show.
Muhammad Fari, basically. Tomorrow's show, I don't know what he's going to be talking about tomorrow. But the show, in fact, it's only an hour. He doesn't have to vote.
How do you feel about your views being broadcast over the internet?
Doesn't matter. You got to get them out somehow.
I think it's important for the voices of the citizens of London to be heard in this election.
You're right.
Too many elections, the candidates tell us to just sit down and listen to them. I think it's about time the citizens of London started listening, or the politicians started listening to the citizens instead of the other way around.
Well, take New Brunswick.
Yeah.
You heard that they had an election, I think it was Monday, and what's his name, Sean Gray, and the Liberal Premier got defeated.
They voted the bastards out, did they?
He did one term, 4 years, and the new Premier is a Conservative, name of David Alward, that's the surname. He's a Conservative. He's going to go walk into a mess left behind by this other Premier, but in 4 years, now where New Brunswick is going to be, we don't know. He's going to have to get rid of the garbage first, and then...
And the garbage problem is, that's a tough one to solve. It's something I've been giving some thought to, and you know, it's going to take a lot of thought and a lot of planning. I guess we'll continue what we're doing for now, but look for better solutions. You know, I don't want to rush into anything if I am elected. You know, the first like month would probably be just me completely familiarizing myself with everything the city's doing. You know,
like take Barack Obama. He's been president going into his second term, I think, and sure, he got elected. He walked into Bush's mess. George W. Bush.
Yeah. Well, Barack Obama is an interesting subject. You know, he ran on the platform of change.
Yeah, by being an African American, first president to be elected.
Yeah. But I think his policies are a lot more important to look at than his race. And I've seen him to be a war president, to be a president who spends a lot of money that isn't his, you know, taxpayer money, and that is currently engaged in war overseas. So I think he ran as a peace candidate, but turned out to be another warmonger like the rest.
Well, now the American troops are coming home, I think, in another year, like the ones on the battle.
That's what they say. That's the plan, right? But they're still going to leave military bases there. There's still going to be troops there. You know, it's still going to be an occupied territory. They've set up a puppet government, and they're claiming that represents the people of Iraq. And I mean, I've never been over to Iraq. I don't really know what it's like over there. But I believe that Canada, the Canadian people, should end their involvement in any sort of overseas affairs. I think that our current occupation of Afghanistan is a grave risk to our national security, because by going overseas we're antagonizing hostile people, and this could easily result in a strike on Canadian targets.
This Taliban and Al Qaeda, I think they work together. And
I'm not sure. I have no idea what the organization of the Taliban and the Al Qaeda are like.
Bin Laden, he's the leader of this guy, the beard. He's the leader of Al Qaeda. When he came into the news a few years ago, he even threatened Canada.
Yeah,
he did. He named Canada as a NATO country that's going to face repercussions, I think.
Well, Osama bin Laden, as far as my information is concerned, is a terrorist. He has struck at civilian targets, and that is the key classification for a terrorist: is an individual or an organization that uses violence against civilian targets.
Uses violence to get what he wants.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
And I'm in opposition to all forms of terrorism, but I also think, you know, in the interest of full disclosure and to fully express my views, I also think that our actions overseas can be classified as terrorism, because our military does in fact use violence against civilians. And I don't accept the term of collateral damage as justifiable casualties. I think it is always wrong to kill innocent people.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that the presumption of innocence is extended, you know, to any unknown.
But this Bin Laden, he has named Canada as one of the countries that's going to face repercussions if they don't get, if Canadian troops don't get out of Afghanistan.
No, I don't think we should withdraw from Afghanistan because of threats from Osama bin Laden. I think we should withdraw from Afghanistan because it's immoral for us to occupy there, as well as because our actions might incite revenge. So I don't think it's framed in the sense of we're giving in to them. It's framed in the sense of we recognize that we must be moral people, that we must set a higher standard for ourselves than we set for the rest of the world. I mean, we have to be inwardly critical. And far too often we get in the habit of just praising ourselves, thinking we're the best, when in reality, you know, we really have to hold ourselves to an ideal, you know, and then we can talk to the rest of the world.
We have to, you know, stop terrorism. It has to be stopped. Like Hitler had to be stopped during the Second World War, and then like I said, you know, it's going back, you know, 70 odd years ago. But he had to be stopped because he wasn't. But you know, according to the reports, he took his own life before the war actually ended.
Well, World War II is a very broad subject. Of course, there's so much that can be said about that case study in history. And of course, you know, one of the bloodiest events in the history of mankind, something like 100 million people slaughtered.
Like when the Americans say they won the war, like World War II, well, Canada was in the World War I before the States were, and we were in World War II before the States were.
But you also have to look at, okay, we entered World War II, defeated the Nazis, but what did we do? We saved the communists, okay, the slave state of Russia, the communists, the Soviet Union, and they went on to enslave their own population. They had death camps, you know, slave labor camps, where millions and tens of millions of people were forced to work, and highly disciplined, and threatened, and even executed. And so you have to look at, when you look at military intervention overseas, yes, the Nazis were evil.
Oh yeah.
And perhaps one of the most horrifying civilizations that has existed in the history of the world. But so were the communists. Yeah. And so saving the communists, I'm just saying that World War II is a very complicated subject. It's not as cut and dry as the history books would want you to believe.
And getting now to the Vietnam War, when the Americans went. When the Vietnam War, what did the Americans accomplish there? I don't think they accomplished anything.
Well, the war in Vietnam, they killed millions of people. Mm-hmm. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. You want to be on the video?
What are you talking about?
Right now we were talking about Vietnam, but we started out just talking about municipal politics and the campaign.
Fuck, I'll have to get a suit on to be in the video.
Well, I won't videotape you without your permission, although we've recorded your voice, so there's already that.
I like my voice. I'm a dirty bastard. I love Zak Young. You should be mayor.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm blazed as fuck.
Nice. I'm a little high myself, actually. I'll turn this off then.